electile dysfunction.
We're less than 30 days away from the election. There was a vice presidential debate. Some people watched it. I didn't because I was doing comedy. I saw one screenshot and tweeted the vibe of this debate as an adult confronting the coach who molested him. He does have that vibe. I'm Bridget Phetasy, and this is your dumpster fire for the weeks of September 27th to October 10th. And I fucking nailed it. Welcome to Dumpster Fire, where we make burgers out of your sacred cows. And if you can't handle that, well, you are in the wrong place. J.D. Vance did seem to kind of like wipe the floor with Waltz. It's funny when you can't see something, and so then I just watch it through Twitter or X. It was just everyone going, oh God, Waltz looks terrified. He looks petrified. This is really bad. I wish that he would wipe that scared look off his face. And then J.D. Vance kept breaking the fourth wall and looking out at the viewers like,
all right.
Like he falls asleep watching reruns of The Office for the last 10 years, which he might have. He's a dad. He made Waltz look somehow older than he is. Waltz made some gaffe, I think. He said he was friends with school shooters.
I've become friends with school shooters.
He's also friends with presidential shooters. I'm just spreading misinformation now. I hate the election years because they really crack down on all jokes as misinformation. Like, you can't even make a joke because they'll be like, that's misinformation. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I demand the right to be hyperbolic. Please allow me my ability to make jokes at the expense of these politicians who are all narcissists and pandering lunatics. Our idiotic presidential candidates have continued their podcast tour on, the idiotic podcasting network, myself included. I want Trump to come on Watkins Welcome. Let's get him on. He went on Andrew Schultz's podcast, Flagrant. He was on Theo Von's, that went viral. And then Kamala went on Call Her Daddy. I do love how dead old media is. This is truly the new media election for anyone who hasn't noticed. This podcast tour that all of these candidates are forced to go on, this isn't your daddy's presidential campaign. We're a long way from Peter Jennings, folks. It is good. I mean, I think Trump does much better in these circumstances. Generally, he can kind of sit down and shoot the shit with people. And Kamala always sounds like a bumbling moron who can't remember any of her talking points. But she went on Call Her Daddy, and I don't know anyone who listens to Call Her Daddy, but it gets like 5 million downloads a week. It's weird though. Even when I talk to 23-year-old women, they don't listen to it, or 20-something women. So if you are one of those women who listens to Call Her Daddy, I would love to hear from you, because I've never been able to get through like 5 minutes of that. A lot of women apparently listen to it. I have yet to meet any of these women. So Kamala went on there. My big take on this is just that it's hilarious that our idiotic presidential candidates have been reduced to going on podcasts. But it also shows you just how media has completely changed. You're not going to reach the independent voter if you go on any of the mainstream. The small sliver of people they need to win this election are not listening to Call Her Daddy. I don't know why you would do that. You're not converting anyone. People say that some people who listen are apolitical, but it sounds like these are just liberal women who listen to this podcast generally. So I don't think you're catching many independents on that podcast. But Trump has been doing the podcast network, going on Theo Von, going on Andrew Schultz. Like, these are where the independents hang out and do their research and shit. I'm sure he'll be on Tim Pool any minute. It seems smart. Seems like a smart way to try and reach the independent voter. I think Obama was the first person to do this. And I blame all of this, by the way, on good old Jazzy Jones Clinton. Jazz hands Clinton. I blame this on Bill Clinton for going on Arsenio and playing frickin' saxophone. He started this. He started all this nonsense where you're pandering to celebrities. But I think our next president will probably be a podcaster.
Yeah.
This is the trajectory. It will probably be Tim Dillon. I'm nominating Tim Dillon for president. But it will probably be a podcaster. This is the evolution of where we're going in America. I mean, he was a celebrity who kind of used Twitter, now X, to win that first election in 2016 and new media. He really knew how to manipulate it. It only makes sense that eventually some podcaster with a huge audience is going to become president of the United States. You heard it here first. It's going to be Theo Von. He's going to be interviewing some hologram of Hitler. Like, hey, man, I've done methamphetamine, and then I made a wig out of a rat that I skinned alive in an alley. Kamala is a chameleon. Somebody tweeted, like, wake up, babe. Kamala's new accent just dropped. And she sounded like she was trying to be Jamaican or something.
Have you no empathy, man? For the suffering of other people.
What's with you, man? Come on!
It sounds like me trying to do an Irish accent because I'm very bad at accents. But she was like, have you no empathy, man? She is an empty vessel. She's like that girl in school that just shapeshifts to whatever group they're around because she doesn't have any center and is desperately pandering to whoever is right in front of her. Kamala's teleprompter went down and she malfunctioned like a robot. We have 32 days, and then you can see the look of dread that comes over her face. And it is exactly like Veep when her teleprompter goes down and she just like starts fumbling all over.
Today we got 32 days until the election. So 32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. All right. 32 days. And we know we will do it.
I'd like to begin today whatever we have in store cannot be known. But given time, it can be understood. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
But she just gets scared and her eyes get big. And then she's like, 32 days. 32 days. We have 30 and we're going to do it. Like, there's nothing in your brain that's just, in there
That could be like,
on its own.
Yeah, like it's time to come together as American people and rally behind what we believe in, like just throw some inspiring words out there.
You can't like freestyle. I mean, nothing. There's no independent thoughts that exist in that brain. That is like, that's how deeply distrusting I am of her, that she's such a lifelong politician that it's all disjointed talking points. There's no actual thinking or processing or taking information in and forming an opinion about it. It's literally just like, what do the people want to hear? What do the people want to hear? What does this group need to hear? What does this group need to hear? What are the talking points? And then it just empties out of your head and you're just truly an empty vessel.
She's such a lifelong politician, but she sucks at it. Like, you would think a lifelong politician could string some talking points together and come up with
emptiness,
with a nominal answer to basic questions.
God, our leaders are all just so ridiculous. How does anyone take this clown show seriously? I will once again tell you, I don't give a shit who you vote for. I really don't care. Because it's such a clown show. Yeah, so Trump, he went on this rant, and it was the moment I decided I think I'm going to vote for him. This is very old. We meant to cover this last time and forgot. But he was at one of his rallies, and he was like, you New Yorkers need to get out there and vote. And he's like, Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. Get out there and vote, Harry.
New Yorkers must get your asses out to vote. Harry, get up, Harry. Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry.
And I love that he said, get your fat ass out of the couch. Like he had been swallowed by the couch because he was just so fat. He lived in the couch. And I was like, I don't know why it spoke. Like clearly my inner spirit animal is just some fat dude named Harry. Fat Harry. We are all Fat Harry, okay? We are all Fat Harry. Harry! Get your fat ass off the couch and get out there and vote. You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry. I really felt seen by Trump in that moment. I also love that both candidates are willing to curse now. I mean, if you're going to have your hands on the nuclear codes, you can drop an F-bomb here and there, I guess. We're just past any kind of decorum or sense of propriety in America. The ship has sailed. The dumpster fire is burning. And we're just like, f it. We can just swear now in front of children. Elon went and spoke at Trump's rally that he held in the same location in Pennsylvania where he originally was nearly assassinated. And he did actually do what everybody online wanted him to do, which was open the rally with, as I was saying.
A very big thank you to Pennsylvania. We love Pennsylvania. And as I was saying,
I'm sorry. He's completely a lunatic who's not to be trusted, but he's a very, very funny one.
He's a showman.
He's a showman, yep. I guess so is Mussolini, but it's okay. It's fine. We're good. Yeah, he had Elon at the Trump rally, and, you know, still photographs aren't great. So, yeah, he had him in the rally, and he came out and jumped. He was jumping for joy, I guess. I don't know.
is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here.
It reminded me very much of the Tom Cruise jumping for joy on Oprah's couch because he was engaged to Katie Holmes.
Have you ever felt this way before?
It had a little bit of that, but I also think like the picture that got snapped with Trump Trump was looking at Elon like Tim Walz looks at his son. He was very much like the autistic kid at the funeral that wasn't catching the vibes. You really saw the tism come out in this image. It was undeniable. And then I suddenly was like, oh, little buddy. He's like that autistic kid that found the onion ring in his bag of French fries. Like, oh, sweetie. It looks like he's wearing a Burger King crown right now. In fact, we have one for little Elon. Oh, he's so desperate for validation. I feel bad for him, and he is trying to do things. I mean, the Starlink stuff has been great for the people, and like I don't think he's my nemesis anymore. I've come around. He's jumping like a train was going by. You're just out there trying so hard. I think I have a soft spot in my heart for him now after that picture. Everybody hates him. And the more people that hate him, the more I love him.
Right. It's like when everyone loved him, you were like, oh, that guy's my fucking nemesis. And now everyone started to hate him. And you're like, oh, I love him now.
Like, Elon, buddy. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. That's falling apart. The only thing that keeps Dumpster Fire going is your support. Please go to Phetasy.com and subscribe. Join our community. You will get the unedited version of Dumpster Fire before it drops publicly for everybody edited. You get to see all the jokes that were cut, all of the mishaps, me being ridiculous. You will also get workouts. There's lots of extra stuff for the community. You get a lot. We are constantly putting out content. Don't forget to touch my bells and buttons and like, subscribe, comment, and tell your friends about us. Today's episode is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. I love this sponsor and this company. Please let me explain to you why my husband only wears their underwear anymore. It is because of their patented dual pouch system. It cradles your balls in their own pouch, and then there's a separate pouch for the genitalia. It keeps everything separate from the legs, nice and comfortable. It can be worn as boxers or briefs. It's moisture wicking, and it keeps everything cool and separated. And if you fly a lot and you hate when your nuts get stuck to your legs, this isn't going to happen anymore. And there's also a women's line, which is amazing. I have their sports bras. They've got cute booty shorts, which make your bum look amazing. Sheath underwear of legends. Go to sheath.com and use the promo code dumpster to get 20% off your next order. This is a great deal for our viewers. That's sheath.com, promo code dumpster to get 20% off. You guys, the holidays are coming. Get some new undies for that man or for that lady in your life. Get on it. Link in the description below. Getting in shape can be so hard, you guys. Most of us have struggled with it. That's why Caliber app has been life-changing for me. Caliber is a strength training and nutrition coaching program that's completely personalized to you. Through their app, you get paired with a personal trainer to help you achieve your goals. Whether it's muscle building, weight loss, Caliber has a rigorous selection process with their trainers. They select about 1% of the trainers who apply to work with them. And unlike working with an in-person trainer who's going to flirt with you and try and sleep with you, Caliber takes a science-based approach, which leads to faster, more sustainable results. We've arranged a very special deal for our Dumpster Fire audience where you get $100 off for the first 3 months, and you get 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not digging it or happy with the results or happy with the program. So click the link below to get signed up, caliberstrong.com/dumpster. And that's $100 off your first 3 months. And it's such a good deal when you break it down, truly. Like normal trainers are like $100 to $150 a week just to see them once. So get on it. The holidays are coming. You don't want to slide into the new year feeling yuckadoo.
Journavism.
Kamala made an appearance on 60 Minutes and CBS retroactively edited a teaser for it, and then they changed her answer. She answered something and it was just a word salad. They used an answer from an earlier question in the final version.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
It should be a massive scandal, and it's not. What is up with Kamala in every interview? She always looks like she's worried her pager is about to explode. I don't understand. She looks terrified. She is not up for this. She's not up for this job. She also reacts like every question's going to be, so tell us, were you at the Diddy parties? Which she probably was. CBS hasn't had a great week. So there's that controversy, which should be a scandal, which should be journalistic malpractice unfolding. Then there is also CBS rebuked one of their anchors over a tense interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates because, God forbid, anybody get a question that might be perceived as even the slightest bit of pushback. And the race and culture unit had to be called in to evaluate the situation. The race and culture unit sounds like the worst Law and Order spinoff ever.
In the social justice system, identity-based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated social workers that investigate these vicious microaggressions are members of an elite squad known as the Race and Culture Unit. These are their stories.
They track down microaggressions and misgendering and the wrong use of pronouns. Da-dong! Yeah, and that's still unfolding too, that whole story actually. Now they're saying he should have just like shut up, this news anchor. And it's become a whole thing.
Yeah, they had a huge meeting about it. And then one of the lawyers was like, I don't understand what the problem is. Like, isn't this our job as journalists?
No, not anymore. Your job is to just make sure everybody feels comfortable and that one side never gets any kind of pushback or questions. They can't survive in this environment. They're never challenged. So the minute that they are, they like completely fall apart. And even in that interview, it was actually a good back and forth that they had. It was civil. They were fine when they ended it. They were laughing, ended it on a light note. And then it was everybody, the staff that couldn't handle it, They couldn't handle this line of questioning. How are you even considering yourself a journalist? Your whole thing is supposed to be like speaking truth to power and going and finding answers to questions and finding out the truth in a situation and figuring out hard, uncomfortable stories that affect like the working class and the people who are downtrodden and maybe don't have a voice. And now you're just like crying because you're uncomfortable by this line of questioning. It's so weird to me. It's not even about the Palestinians and their suffering. It's about you suffering because of a question. Right. You are a crazy person. Even if your worldview is that genocide is occurring, you somehow managed to make it about you not being able to handle this interaction that these two had.
No, this whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
Someone made you feel uncomfortable, God forbid. And like, this is the end of civil discourse if this is where we are.
I mean, I think the end happened a while ago, but this stuff like ramps up around in election years, and everybody, you had like Kamala and AOC, they were calling for censorship of misinformation. And like, I don't trust any of these people. What you did editing that CBS interview before an election, where is the calls for election interference for that? That's crazy. People have a right to know what her answers to the questions are. They have a right to see her talk freely and the way that she spoke. This is crazy. This is like China stuff. Like, this is what they do in communist societies where they get the questions in advance. They edit all of the answers. They present this propaganda interview to you for the masses to consume, not knowing any better. And these are the people saying we need to be in charge of misinformation. Get fucked. Nobody trusts you. No, never. Women! Schools all over America are starting to forfeit matches when the opposing team has a trans player in women's sports. I hate that it's come to this. It shouldn't be on these teenage girls. Here is what makes me crazy. Among many other things. You had women marching when Trump got elected by the millions all over America with their knitted pussy hats and their, we care about women. What's going to happen to the women under this administration? Since then, you've allowed Title IX to be completely rewritten, men in women's prisons, men in women's rape shelters, men in places where domestic abuse survivors are, men in locker rooms and female spaces, and men in women's sports, particularly at the high school level. And you're going to sit there with a straight face and tell me you give a shit about women. You don't. You should be fighting for these teenage girls and their right to compete fairly against one another and not some biological male who wants to join the lacrosse team because he sucks against actual biological males. I'm sorry. I thought this was America. But it is bullshit. Like, you guys fight for these girls. These girls shouldn't be losing out on scholarships. They shouldn't be losing out on medals. They train so hard, and now you're just going to undo 50 years. It's not even been that long.
Yeah.
Like, patriarchy is so crafty. They let us have 50 years of women's sports that we fought for, and now they're just creeping their way back in. And the girls have to fucking boycott this? Are you out of your minds? I am sorry. These teenage girls deserve to have the adults in the room not being crazy ideologues who are selling out their freaking bodies. Bodies. You play sports with your body. It's not like chess or poetry. This is with your fucking body. And you're selling out not only their opportunities for scholarships, their medals, their accolades, all of the accomplishments and their achievements, you're selling out their actual bodily safety. You're putting women in harm's way. Oh, you don't think a predator would lie?
Always gonna be misgendered. But it sure does pay off when I'm in the women's locker room taking my shower and open up the shower door and it's just tits and ass just hanging around, nothing on.
I know I've been like a broken record about this, and I know that I get called a TERF in public all the time. They know me. I'm fine with that. It's okay. This shouldn't be up to these girls. I'm sorry. They've got bravery and balls, and I'm glad that somebody's taking a stand, but it shouldn't be teenage girls.
Yeah.
You fucking lunatics. Like, everyone behind this, the thing that makes me crazy is they're all going to pretend they didn't support this nonsense.
Yeah.
But good for you. Girls out there, we have got you. There is a group of us, Riley Gaines, J.K. Rowling, the XXXY, Pantalones, Jennifer Say. Do not feel alone in this. There's so many women out there who are fighting for your right to compete fairly against one another. We've got your back. Do not be afraid. Keep going. The more of you that speak up, the more this will hopefully burn itself out. This is what's going to start the Civil War. There are tampons in the men's room, and we're going to go to war. There are tampons in the men's room. That's what we are fighting for. You've all heard me screaming, women, for years now. I'm a big advocate for women in general and women's health in particular. That's why I love Quest's line of medical tests specifically focused on women's health issues. They offer a basic women's health profile test that gives you a snapshot of your current health and wellness, women's hormone test designed to identify imbalances associated with various health conditions, and specific tests for fertility, thyroid function, and even your menopause stage. I'm trying to make menopause more like metaplay, am I right? Guys, they have tests for you too. I'm just focusing on the ladies. And the best part is you can get all this information without a doctor's visit. You just simply purchase a lab-based test and access testing at a nearby location, or get immediate results at home with at-home test kits. For lab-based tests included with your purchase, you have the option to discuss your results with an independent physician who may be able to prescribe treatment. Prioritize your health and visit questhealth.com today. Use the code FIRE to get 25% off. That's questhealth.com. Use the code FIRE for 25% off. The link is in the description below. You've all heard me talk about my Bone Charge red light face mask if you watch this show. And if you don't and it's your first time, let me tell you about how much I love it. Getting older sucks, especially when you're on camera. I mean, it's just hard in general to get older in age. You start to notice the wrinkles and the sunspots and all that sun damage shows up. And I use my Bone Charge red light face mask for 10 minutes every night. I just put it on and meditate, truly. It boosts collagen and elastin production, and it's got near infrared and red light, and you can switch between them or use them both at the same time. That's how I use it. It's super lightweight on the face and it doesn't get hot. Other problems a red light face mask helps with: wrinkles and fine lines, sore jaw, eczema, migraines, acne, scar tissue, wound healing. It's kind of just endless. Go to bonecharge.com/Bridget and use the coupon code Bridget to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com/Bridget and use the coupon code Bridget, BRIDGET, to save 15%. This is a fantastic gift. They also have all kinds of other products. Go to their website and check them out. The link is in the description below. Holidays are coming, folks. This is a great gift. Now let's check the weather with our girl, Yanette Garcia.
Lluvias fuertes para esta gran parte, principalmente sobre el sur y sureste de la República Mexicana. Esperamos que ya para todo el noreste de nuestro país se mantengan las altas presiones, lo que estará provocando cielos despejados y soleados para gran parte del territorio mexicano.
I'm an ass man. Fat Harry is an ass man. Please subscribe, comment, touch my bells and buttons, and tell your friends about us. And, let's party.
Get Rekt China.
Get Rekt China! TikTok is being sued by multiple states for wrecking teens' health. And I love that, not all our other apps are being sued. Just TikTok is to blame, and also not our food supply, which I went on a rant about last week. I bet if you like dig deep enough, these lawsuits are being put up by Big Plastic and Meta. And like, oh, nothing to see here. We're not doing anything to destroy the teens' health and drive them crazy. They're all obese. At least TikTok has them out doing dances. I'm defending TikTok now. I mean, look, I've watched a lot of good minds get completely destroyed by X, so I'm absolutely certain that TikTok is probably affecting the children. But so is Instagram, and so is Facebook, and so is YouTube. I went down a rabbit hole where it was just teens switching personalities just for shits and giggles, because now that's the cool thing that they do.
Didn't that start on TikTok?
Oh, maybe. I think, no, it's everywhere now.
I thought it started on TikTok, though, the switching. Well, this leads us into...
Speaking of TikTok, Gen Z has discovered Whippets. There was this whole thing, they're like, a dangerous trend is going around and the kids are inhaling whipped cream. It's called chroming. I was like... These kids are such posers that not one single new idea ever comes to their brains. It is wild to me that they're all like, oh man, I'm chroming now. It's called Whippets. We all did it. Maybe not all of us, but many of us loved it.
If you take a whipped cream can container and you press the nozzle on top just enough before the whipped cream comes out, some gas comes out, you snort the gas, you get high for 5 seconds. We didn't have MTV. We had the fucking supermarket. That's what we had.
I'm not promoting it. It's just funny to me, too, because they're like, oh, no, Whippets can give you brain damage. Chroming can give you brain damage. Because it's also other inhalants like, you know, permanent markers, all the things we used to sniff when we were kids. Glue.
Yeah.
If your child is on TikTok, will you even notice if they have brain damage? It's going to be funny when they ban TikTok and all of these kids storm the Capitol like Mad Max style with chrome on their mouth. It's going to be the next January 6th will be like the teens storming the Capitol and taking poops on Nancy Pelosi's desk. I mean, we used to do it all the time in the restaurants. There was one restaurant I worked at and somebody had like a serious whippet addiction. You would go to like make a fucking ice cream sundae and all the fucking whipped cream would be flat. It's just funny, too, that they think, like, this hasn't been a thing. It's always, like, Gen Z discovering some new thing that's not a new thing, that's an old thing.
Dumpster diving.
Well, what's next? In the dumpster.
It's been a long time since we've done a dumpster dive.
Dumpster diving! I know, I was a little slow.
Yeah,
like, I'm a little
out of practice.
Rusty. Just Stop Oil art vandals are headed to prison for 2 years. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. We here at the Art and Culture Unit have been working tirelessly to bring these morons to justice. Morons! No, it's good. I hope that this actually does deter people. You need to like slap them with some kind of prison sentence so that other morons don't go out there and start destroying what's left of our art and culture, because that's it, folks. That's the end. Everything else is digital. So Earth has a second moon for 2 months, in case you're wondering why everything feels a little wonky and out of control. There's also going to be a comet that you can see for the next 2 nights for the first time since like the Neanderthal time or something. So look to the skies for that. So there's this asteroid that flew in from the asteroid belt. We grabbed it. I think it's a supply dump for our moon, which is actually a hollowed out spaceship.
And I knock on a door and I say, Carol!
Look, guys, I'm a skeptic. I'm not one to just run away with every conspiracy theory, but I watched exactly 20 seconds of a video and I was convinced that the moon is a hollowed out spaceship.
Breaking Bridget.
It felt to me like there should have been more coverage of the destruction in North Carolina from Hurricane Helene. We're going to put a link in our description below where you can go donate because they literally lost I'm getting more news from my Facebook feed. And I have friends in Asheville and friends in North Carolina, and the pictures are so devastating, and I don't understand why I'm not seeing anything like this on the mainstream media. And I could be wrong. Maybe I'm missing it, but why aren't there boots on the ground in these places? I know it's hard to access. In this kind of information vacuum that's occurred around something like this, where you have all these reports of FEMA mishandling things and you don't know what's true, you would think that the mainstream media, which actually does still have some kind of resources to get people, actual journalism is expensive because you've got to send people to places and put them up and have them do actual journalism, investigate what's going on, look with their own eyes. And this whole scenario has been so, the picture I saw yesterday was a woman who lived by that lake that was completely flooded, and it was that the town was all around. I'm blanking on the name of the lake. And this was the lake 3 days before the storm, and then this is the lake now, and it's all of the houses and people in the lake that just got washed into this lake. And I haven't seen these images anywhere. I can kind of tell what is floating to the surface of the news cycle just from Apple News. You still get a lot of the mainstream headlines through Apple News. I don't watch CNN or MSNBC or anything like that, but I haven't seen there's been barely anything, any kind of coverage around this. And then you had Elon online saying that they weren't allowing Starlink, and it's been just so much confusion. And I do think part of the problem is that this place is very hard to access. And then with everything being down and the roads being flooded and all that, everything being down, it's hard to actually get there. But you would still think that people would try and get there. And then it gets sketchy when you start thinking, well, these are the communities that are generally red, and these are poor white communities in many instances that this is like a population no one really cared about anyways in America. It's such a forgotten population. And it's been just bothering me. And I could be wrong. Maybe the mainstream media is covering the aftermath, but I've seen nothing. It feels like a media blackout, and it's upsetting to me because there are so many people who are struggling. My biggest takeaway from all of this, same thing in Texas, same thing. It actually reminds me of the fire in Paradise in California, where that town was just gone. It was there one day and then it was gone. And again, it was like a community of people no one cared about. And it was weird because politicians they all get political about this, and they'll be like, I'm withholding funds. I don't know if we're going to send that to California. My big takeaway is that we're all pawns and no one is coming. And I think people are actually waking up to this more and more. They really do see that no one is coming and that they need to be self-reliant. As a community, you have to be able to come together. Apparently, chainsaws are really important in the apocalypse. So make sure at least 1 out of the 4 of you around have a chainsaw. Not everyone needs one. It would be helpful. But I think you can get to know your neighbors, know your community, make sure you have supplies for your family so that you're not depending on other people and desperate. I couldn't sleep the other night and I watched the movie Leave the World Behind. It's so funny. I saw an old friend a couple nights ago and she was like, you still haven't strayed from your fear that the grid's going to go down, I see, in the over decade since I've known you. But this is kind of what happens. There's a hacker in this movie and then everybody's isolated and they're all kind of trying to figure out what's what's going on, fending for themselves, and it gets really bad. One guy is kind of prepared, and it gets like pretty gnarly. So these situations, I think Americans are actually really good. We saw it in Houston. People gather together. They help each other. They help their neighbors out. They come together. Americans donate. You see things like the Comedy Mothership fundraisers. We are good in these. I actually think most Americans are pretty good in these situations generally, not in cities so much. I would not want to be, it's part of the, I kind of agree, get out of the cities. And this was just one of those moments where I'm reminded government's not going to save you. They're not going to get there fast enough. If you didn't learn this from Katrina, and you didn't learn this from the ice freeze in Texas, and you didn't learn this from forest fires, and you didn't learn this from the things that are happening in North Carolina, it's time for you to kind of wake up and realize that no one's coming. No one's coming. I realized this during the riots in LA when it was 2020, and there were people going around smashing everything. I'm like, there's not enough law enforcement that if this gets bigger, that anyone's going to be protecting you. No one's coming. Learn self-reliance, learn how to defend yourself, and make sure you have water and food, just even an emergency supply and some first aid, some basic first aid. Learn some basic first aid. That's it. Even a little bit in these circumstances is more than most people have. So that's my big takeaway. And I just feel for all those people, because it does feel just weird. It's so weird, our selective media, who gets, all the attention and who gets totally ignored. It's very unsettling. Anyways, not to leave you on that dark note. No one's coming, motherfuckers. Get ready. Join us at Phetasy.com for the unedited version of this craziness, and you get so much other content. We do all kinds of stuff, workouts, another round with me where I talk about how crazy I am. Thank you to everybody who makes Dumpster Fire possible. We cannot do this without you, truly. We love Dumpster Fire. We love you, and we love making this show, and I want to make more of them. And so please subscribe. We're going to get through this election together. We're going to get through it, guys. Americans are good to each other for the most part. They're pretty good people. We understand. We can get through these things together. Don't lose sight of that and all of the division and craziness and conflict. Thank you to our sponsors, Sheath Underwear, Bone Charge, Caliber, and Quest. Thank you to our audience, our subscribers, our supporters. You people make this worth doing. We love you. We love our audience. I love when you come see me. Oh, I will be opening for Adrienne Appalucci at Mothership October 18th, 19th, 20th. I believe the 18th is sold out. The 19th might be sold out. But get tickets if it's not sold out and you're in Austin and you want to come see the Dark Queen, Adrienne. She's amazing. She's been on Walk-Ins Welcome, a good friend of mine, but also just a brilliant comedian. Now to cleanse your palate, the internet is glorious.
The following is a conversation with Satan, acclaimed CEO, entrepreneur, dear friend, and author of the recent best-selling memoirs, From the Depths I Shall Tempt Your Soul. Formerly known as Lucifer, Satan and I have become good friends, bonding over our shared love of literature, quantum physics, and creative methods of torture, like this podcast. As always, I hope to approach this discussion with empathy, to bridge the gap, promote open dialogue, and let love triumph over all, so that I can secure more AG1 partnerships. I'm Lex, and this is my podcast that I made.
What's happening?
Big's not here.
But we're 25 minutes late.
Hello?
Are you okay?
I've been calling you for an hour. Why haven't you been answering your phone?
Because I don't know where my phone is.
I can't do this.
He's not coming. Oh my God.
What do you mean he's not coming?
Get me out of here.
Go, 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 go. You take her. All right. And I'll stay here and deal with all of this.
Carrie! Carrie, I freaked out for a minute, but I'm ready now. Carrie, I'm sorry.
I am humiliated.
I'm sorry. Carrie, wait, I'm sorry. Carrie, wait.
No.
We love you. Remember, life is absurd. Don't take yourself so damn seriously, and be prepared, and no one is coming. It's a lot of mixed messages. Take the work seriously. Don't take yourself seriously. Take the work seriously. Don't take yourself seriously. This has been your Dumpster Fire for the weeks of September 27th to October 10th. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich. My stomach just growled so loud, I think it got picked up. Make me rich so I can afford some food.
And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns. World burns.